Hello everyone and welcome to the new series, Transfer Roundup. It is a series based upon a team's transfer window. It will cover the players brought in and players out. Players in and out of the team. The total net gain or loss during the transfer window. What we rate that window out of 10 and their starting 11. Our first team today is
Barcelona. We'll start with today because they've been
pretty active,
very proactive in the transfer window and have brought in some world-class players.
And somewhat financially controversial.
Yeah, everyone is wondering how they're spending money, and we've got a theory on that, to be fair.
We have a theory whether or not it's legal. It could be
whether or not it's legal, but more ethical.
Yeah, as well.
Yeah, so I think they'll have an investigation at some point during the season.
100% buy it.
But I mean, they've got all the players available now. Kunde was registered yesterday.
Exactly. So
they've got everyone. Let's
start off with the players brought in.
Yeah.
First on our list is Rafinha from Leeds for £49 million. We're going to be doing this in pounds, not euros. So
we are British.
Yeah, as we are British. So it is £49 million in total, which I personally think is a good deal for someone.
It is. I think the deal was kind of made with the potential expectation of Ousmane Dembele leaving.
Yeah.
Considering he's a left-footed right winger, but then again, Dembele is a two-footed player and can play either side.
But the thing is, though, they always wanted depth.
Yeah. Well, that's what they needed. They're going to have to start competing again. So
exactly.
we'll come on to depth in positions
and the thing
as
is,
well.
Though, their strike force in general were quite injury-prone.
Yeah.
So having those type of options now with Ferran Torres and all that, we'll go on the teams. It's a good signing, nevertheless.
Next signing, Jules Koundé from Sevilla for £42 million.
Which is
another brilliant signing.
£42 million for
it is
what to be considered one of the hottest prospects in centre backs now.
He's only young. I mean, he's a bit like Martinez joining Man U's small centre half, but unbelievable aerial duels.
He's quite strong though. He's well built. He's not as skinny as he's quite a wide player. He's a bit like a James Justin build, if anyone knows
and he fits that mould of being good on the ball and can pass out from the back.
100% fast as well, fast in the back.
So he's a good signer.
And very young.
And young, yeah.
So next on the list is what Barcelona probably needed in terms of a clinical striker and someone who can lead from the front. Is Roberto Lewandowski. Whether or not it's the perfect signing for them in terms of long-term future, maybe it's for the now. A total price of £38 million was the fee for a 33-year-old striker,
something like that,
along the lines of that. So he brings you 25 plus goals a season, like realistically. So
I think the thing with it wasn't so much the man who's going to get you goals, because obviously they've got Aubameyang in January who does score goals in that league. I think it was more of getting a statement signing in.
Yeah, true.
I think it's what they needed, because they've got quality players, but they don't have that statement player
like a Messi
since Messi left. So bringing him in, he is that big player, that big game player for them. I think 100%. That was important for them to get that person in,
which is great.
So,
and with
top signing,
maybe it's the exit of a centre midfield. They brought in someone very good,
Frank
for free.
Yeah,
from AC Milan on a pre-contract deal, which is for me incredible bit of business. Getting someone with the quality of Frank Kessie, obviously he's African, so he's not available through like 3 months of the season.
Here's what I found.
Oh, okay.
We'll be turning that
Fair
off.
enough. But no, Frank Kessie wears his heart on the sleeve every single game. He's a very good player technically, but he can play in multiple positions. He just does a job no matter what.
He's a versatile midfielder.
Yeah, and I think they were lacking that in midfield. A player who's just going to be that box of box, bit ruffle tumble,
and can be a ball winning midfielder as well for them.
Because the players that Barcelona have in midfield now, which we'll come on to, are all possession based, just like to have the ball at the feet. So having that guy who's going to break up the play
Oh, 100%.
And rough and tumble in midfield is going to be a good thing for them.
And the final signing,
Andreas Christensen, also on a free transfer from Chelsea.
I don't think there's many complaints about that transfer.
You can't complain about that.
Champions League experienced player.
Champions League winner.
2-time Champions League winner? Or one time? Was he at Chelsea like youth ranks when they won ages ago in 2014? No. He's like 26-year-old. But to be fair, an experienced player, got a lot of experience in the Premier League. You can't really complain if you get Arejo injured. If you get someone else injured, he slots right in there.
He's a quality player to come off, to substitute in for anyone who gets a knock, and he can do a job, and no one's going to batter an eyelid. Sort of the fact that he's in the team and someone else is not.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you've got Piqué, who is aging, so Christensen coming in. Piqué will probably retire next season.
Yeah. So now we're finished with the players brought in. Players sold. So they sold Philippe Coutinho to Aston Villa for 16.6 million. They needed to get rid of him realistically. Didn't have space for him in the team. But maybe it's cheap for him, but it's getting money in at the end of the day. Get him off the wage box.
Yeah, it's all about wages, because obviously he signed for £142 million.
Yeah, which is something I've said. And, it also doesn't trigger the £30 million release clause on the thing for
on the contract. So I think getting him off the wages was
getting him off the team was just quite crucial this transfer window.
They were looking to get big players off the wages and get some transfer fees in to be able to register the 5 signings that they made.
Yeah. So now we move on to Oscar Mingueza, who went to Celta Vigo for £2.5 million.
I think they put a buyback clause in his contract somewhere.
He's alright, but realistically, the trajectory that Barcelona want to go, Oscar Mingueza probably isn't the
if they want to progress, then it's not right.
Exactly. And then onto a player that realistically I thought was actually quite a good player, but at the end of the day, it's a player that they didn't need, because they brought in Kessier, and they already had Gavi, they had Pedri, they had Frankie de Jong, now they've got Kessier.
So Ricky Puig on a free transfer to LA.
That's just getting him off the wage box.
That
he was on a lot of money, probably on like 25 grand a week.
There was a lot of hype about him, and I never really saw it.
I thought he was an alright player.
I'm not gonna lie, I never saw any time that he played. He was just average, I think. So it's good. Is it a good move for him?
No.
Going to America?
No.
I mean,
no.
he's gonna go get first team football every week, but
he's getting first team football. But at the end of the day, he's going to America.
Going to America at 21-year-old.
Spotlight on you at America. The only person that's really came across from America that's realistically done well is Alphonso Davies. I can't think of anyone else that has genuinely came across from America and done
Zlatan.
No, he hasn't came. No. Well, actually, I saying that Jonathan David, didn't he play for?
He might have played for Toronto because he's Canadian.
Yeah, but next, Neto on a free transfer to Bournemouth. Hasn't really had a good start of the season. I don't know if he's played in those games or not.
I don't know. Off the wage weeks, I mean.
Again, another player that's probably on like 100k a week.
He's only going to get relegated to Bournemouth anyway, so it doesn't make a difference.
Ray Manja on a free transfer to Watford.
Young striker.
Again, just getting someone out the team.
Yeah, he's not going to play, is he? So it's good for him.
Musa Wag, however you like to say it.
That one surprised me a bit, because every time he played quite well.
Was that not again someone coming off the wage box? Someone on like £35,000 plus per week?
Yeah, maybe, but
realistically, they needed to get money from somewhere to register these big players.
Yeah,
and they're looking at him and going, "Yeah, we can get rid of him."
It's a chances of him playing, and then the last one, Dani Alves on a free transfer to Pumas.
Yeah, I mean it was his time at the club.
He came in as a gap filler to try and revitalise the club, to make sure they got into the Champions League and started playing well again.
Well, also putting the kids in the right direction in terms of the mindset as well in the dressing rooms.
I mean, he'll probably end up back as a coach in the future.
Well, the thing is, though, they probably done that to make sure that when he was in the dressing room, he was going, listen to the manager, listen to what he's got to say. Because if someone's on a player level saying that, and telling them to respect the plan, respect what he's got to say, then they've got more chance of doing that.
Right.
And when there's such a figure as Dani Alves.
Yeah, we'll quickly go through the loan deals as well, because Trincao has gone to Sporting Lisbon for $2.5 million loan fee. which again, a couple of million quid in the pockets.
And also wages off.
Nico Gonzalez has signed a new contract and went to Valencia on loan, so he's one for the future, dubbed a Busquets replacement. Clement Lenglet on loan to Spurs. They may have a buy option in that.
I think there's a £30 million buyout clause in that.
It never worked out for him at Barcelona, really. Collado to Elche, he's also signed a new contract and gone out on loan. He's a good young winger potential in them. And then Samuel Umtiti again just hasn't worked out since his first season or two at Barcelona where he looked good. He's gone out on loan in Italy. So do you want to quickly go over the income expenditure?
So total income from the transfer window for Barcelona is £21.6 million UK GBP. Expenditure was £129 million, so that was a net loss of £107.4 million.
I mean, for the calibre of player of 5 players that they brought in,
I think personally that's a great window. And out of 10, what would you give that window?
It's got to be.
You can't really give it a 10 because realistically,
it's got to be
where they're getting the money from. You can't give that a 10 because they didn't actually have the money to spend in the first place, so you can't give them a 10. I'd give them a 9.
I was going to say 8 or a 9. They've signed in positions that they need to sign. And they brought in the right players that they needed to. They didn't rush it. They picked out and selected the players that they need, and brought them in at the right times. So 8, 9, definitely.
So now to the final part of the video, which is picking the starting 11, first team 11. And do you want to say the defence? You want to go with the defence? So
in goal, Marc-Andre ter Stegen, as simple as you like. There's no one who's going to compete for that spot. Right back, you could have Serginho Dest or Sergio Roberto. We've gone for Dest. I think he's younger and got more quality going forward and defensively. Roberto's good on the ball just because of his midfield days.
But I think Dest is a lot quicker, which you need.
Yeah, I think Dest would come in good. 2 centre halves have got to be Ronald Araujo and Jules Koundé. Solid partnership that's going to be together. And then Jordi Alba at left back. They have got a young kid coming through, Balde, and I think he'll replace Alba in the future if he picks up more game time.
So now on to the midfield. Whether or not he stays still at Barcelona, we went with Frankie de Jong in CDM, being that pivot in the midfield. Pedri is sort of the attacking playmaker in that midfield, and Gavi as the box-to-box midfielder. And I mean, as simple as you like, I think that's a quality midfield 3.
It is. I think that's their future midfield 3 going forward. Obviously, you got Busquets, who's aging and declining, and again, he'll be one to retire shortly alongside PK, and he'll be in there in the dressing room making sure everything's right. New signing Frank Kessier.
You could have him in instead of Gavi.
You can have him in instead of De Jong or Gavi, or because he can play in multiple positions. So solid midfield right there.
And then finally the attack,
which they've got abundance of options.
So we found it quite interesting to pick the 3, but because you can go either way you like with it. But we went with Fati and Dembele as wingers.
And then Lewandowski up top.
Simple as you like. With Aubameyang leaving.
Likely that Aubameyang's going to go to Chelsea for 25 million. Again, money and off the wage books. You could have obviously Rafinha playing from the right. Dembele can play from the left because he's a 2-footed football player. You got Ferran Torres, who came in from Man City in January as well. And then obviously you got Memphis Depay. So I mean, you've got
a quality in abundance. So I think that wraps up this video.
Wraps up the video.
So this is the first ever episode of Transfer Roundup. Links to the other socials will be in the description down below. Check out all of our other videos, which is the club revamp for the Manchester United. We've got our Champions League predictions and Premier League predictions.
And if you like this sort of video, we'll keep on picking new teams to go over their transfer windows, because we've got a few options on those, because there's been a lot of business done this summer from various clubs.
Other than that,
thank
you very much for watching.